candlelight flickered across the marble floors of the Grand Palazzo, casting long shadows that danced like secrets whispered in the night. A woman's laughter echoed softly from the corner, sharp and inviting, cutting through the murmur of silk gowns rustling against velvet seats. He moved through the crowd with the ease of a shadow, his gaze steady, never lingering too long on any one face, yet somehow pulling the room's attention toward him without effort. Her hand paused mid-gesture as she lifted a goblet of deep red wine to her lips, the liquid catching the light like blood on the blade. The scent of jasmine hung in the air, mingling with the faint musk of anticipation, and she felt it, a subtle shift, like the first crack in a fortress wall. Why did her pulse quicken when he hadn't even spoken? The orchestra swelled with strings that vibrated through her chest, each note a thread pulling her closer, though she remained rooted in place. Contradictions swirled around him, his smile warm, yet his eyes held the cool calculation of a strategist surveying a battlefield. Guests whispered behind fans, tales of alliances forged and broken in a single evening, but she couldn't tear her focus away. The air thickened with unspoken promises, her skin prickling as if touched by an invisible hand. What was this pull, this invisible force that made her question the control she thought she held so tightly? He approached, not directly, but in a curve that mirrored the winding paths of the garden outside, where moonlight filtered through ivy-covered arches. Her breath caught as his voice finally reached her, low and measured, wrapping around her like smoke. "The night reveals what the day conceals," he said. And in those words, a door creaked open to something deeper, something forbidden. She leaned in, compelled by the mystery of it all, her world narrowing to the space between them. The room faded, the laughter distant now, as if the universe had conspired to isolate this moment. Her fingers tightened on the goblet, the cool metal grounding her against the heat rising within. Who was this man, and why did his presence stir a storm she hadn't known existed? The shadows deepened, and with them, the enigma grew, pulling her into a web of intrigue where desire and power intertwined seamlessly. As the evening unfolded, fragments of conversation floated like leaves on the breeze, each one laced with hints of strategy and seduction. She watched him navigate the gathering, engaging a rival with a jest that disarmed without wounding, then turning to an ally with words that bound loyalty like chains disguised as gifts. Her mind raced, piecing together the puzzle. Was he a noble, a merchant, or something more elusive? The scent of roasted spices from the banquet table wafted over, but it paled against the electric charge in the air whenever his path neared hers. A contradiction burned bright. He exuded confidence, yet there was a vulnerability in his pauses, as if he invited her to uncover layers hidden from the rest. Her heart thudded in rhythm with a distant drum, a beat that echoed the growing tension. Why did she feel exposed? As if he already knew her secrets. The candle flames leaped higher, illuminating the intricate tapestries on the walls, depicting conquests of old warriors claiming thrones with cunning rather than brute force. She sipped her wine, the tartness exploding on her tongue, mirroring the sharp awakening inside her. He circled closer, his movements deliberate, like a predator who savored the hunt more than the kill. When their eyes met again, it was electric, a spark that ignited questions. What if this encounter shattered the careful balance of her life? The mystery deepened, wrapping around her like the velvet night outside, where stars pierced the darkness with promises of revelation. She found herself stepping forward, drawn by an invisible thread, the contradiction of fear and exhilaration blending into one intoxicating brew. The palazzo's halls seemed to narrow as the night wore on, the crowd thinning yet the intensity building. She overheard snippets, a whispered deal sealed with a glance, a feud averted by a well-timed compliment. His world was one of calculated elegance, where every gesture held weight. The cool marble under her feet contrasted with the warmth flushing her cheeks, a sensory clash that heightened her awareness. Jasmine bloomed stronger now, perhaps from the gardens, or was it her imagination amplifying every detail? He finally stood before her, close enough that she could detect the faint aroma of leather and ink on him. remnants of letters written in haste or treaties forged in shadow. Power, he murmured, is not taken, it is awakened. The words hung between them, a riddle wrapped in silk, stirring a response deep within her core. Contradiction again, his tone commanding yet inviting collaboration, as if he offered a key to a locked chamber of her own soul. Her breath shallowed, the orchestra's melody weaving through her thoughts like a spell. Why this man, this moment? The mystery pulsed like a living thing, urging her to unravel it, to step into the unknown where desire lurked just beyond the veil. Deeper into the night, the scene shifted subtly, the candlelight softening edges, blurring boundaries. She followed him to a balcony overlooking the moonlit canals, the water below rippling like liquid silver. The cool breeze carried the salt of the sea, mingling with the lingering jasmine, creating a symphony of scents that enveloped them. His hand brushed hers accidentally, or was it sending a jolt through her veins? Contradictions mounted. The public facade of the gathering versus this private interlude. Her composed exterior cracking under the weight of burgeoning curiosity. He spoke of fortunes turned by whispers, of hearts swayed not by force but by artful persuasion. Each word painted a picture, immersive and vivid, drawing her into a narrative where she was no longer spectator but participant. The stars above seemed to conspire, their light reflecting in his eyes, mirroring the spark now kindling in hers. Mystery enveloped them like the fog rolling in from the water, thick and tantalizing. What secrets did he hold that could unlock her own hidden depths? The night stretched on, each second building the enigma, until she realized the hook had set deep to pull towards something transformative, where power and passion collided in exquisite tension. In the dim glow of that balcony, where the canal's gentle lap against stone provided a rhythmic underscore, he began to unfold the layers of his philosophy, drawing from shadows of the past to illuminate paths forward. Machiavelli, that Florentine master of intrigue, wasn't just a chronicler of princes and power plays. His insights pierced the veil of human nature, revealing how desire raw, sexual desire could be kindled like a flame in dry tinder. Think of it not as conquest, but as cultivation, where the soil of a woman's psyche is prepared with precision. He leaned against the balustrade, his voice a low rumble that vibrated through the night air, explaining how virtue, in the Machiavellian sense, isn't moral uprightness but virtue skill, prowess in navigating the unpredictable seas of fortune. For awakening desire, this means understanding that women, like kingdoms, respond not to overt force but to the subtle art of anticipation. Her mind whirled as he described the psychology at play. The female mind craves security wrapped in excitement, a fortress with hidden gates that open only to those who know the code. Emotional domination emerges here, not through chains but through threads of influence, weaving a tapestry where she feels both protected and perilously alive. He painted scenarios from history, Machiavelli advising Cesare Borgia on alliances that mirrored seductions, where loyalty was forged in moments of calculated vulnerability. In modern terms, it's a glance across a crowded room that promises more, the text sent at midnight that hints without revealing, building a psychological edifice where desire builds brick by brick. As the conversation deepened, he delved into the tactics, his words flowing like the canal below, smooth yet carrying undercurrents of power. Social dynamics, he explained, are the battlefield where Machiavellian strategies shine. Position yourself as the fox and the lion, cunning to evade traps, fierce to seize opportunities. In awakening sexual desire, this translates to reading the room, identifying rivals not as enemies but as foils that highlight your allure. Psychology feminine unfolds in layers. The initial spark from mystery, sustained by emotional highs and lows that mimic the fortunes Machiavelli warned of. Dominate emotionally by mastering indifference when needed, showering attention like a sudden boon. He recounted a tale from the courts of Renaissance Italy, where a duke won a duchess's favor not by gifts but by orchestrating events that made her feel chosen, her desire awakening as she navigated the social maze he subtly controlled. Immersion came naturally, his narrative pulling her in, the night's chill forgotten as heat built from within. Tactics socialis involve mirroring her energy, then shifting it, creating a dance where she leads only to find herself following. The rhythm was fluid, each idea building on the last, plunging deeper into the psyche where desire slumbers, waiting for the right key. Shifting gears, he explored the darker hues of domination emotional, where Machiavelli's dictum that it's better to be feared than loved but never hated applies to the intimate sphere. Fear here isn't terror, but a thrilling uncertainty, the edge that sharpens desire. Female psychology thrives on this balance. Too much predictability dulls the flame, too much chaos extinguishes it. He wove in examples from everyday encounters, a man who texts sporadically, igniting curiosity, versus one who smothers with constancy. Strategy Machiavelli demands adaptability, virtue clashing with fortune in the form of her moods and whims. Immerse yourself in her world, he urged, but retain the power to withdraw, creating vacuums that desire rushes to fill. The balcony's shadows seemed to listen, the narrative intensifying, as he described psychological immersion. Visualize her thoughts, anticipate her needs, dominate by fulfilling them in ways she didn't know she craved. Social tactics extend to groups, use friends as allies, turning gatherings into stages where your performance awakens her envy and longing. The flow was relentless, each concept a wave crashing into the next, building an ocean of insight where sexual desire emerges not as accident but art. Further into the discourse, he dissected the interplay of power dynamics, drawing parallels to Machiavelli's treatises on maintaining rule. In relationships, awakening desire means establishing a subtle hierarchy where she perceives you as indispensable, her sexual fire kindled by the warmth of your controlled presence. Psychology Feminine reveals that women often respond to emotional cues embedded in actions, a touch that lingers just long enough, a word that pierces defenses. Domination comes through empathy, weaponized, understanding her fears to allay them, her dreams to amplify them. He shared anecdotes from shadow histories, like how Lorenzo de' Medici used poetry and politics to stir passions in his court, tactics that translate to modern flirtations laced with intellect. The rhythm pulsed, immersive and profound, as he explained how to navigate contradictions. Be the protector who challenges, the lover who withholds. Social tactics involve leveraging networks, introduce elements of competition to heighten her awareness, making her desire a conquest she pursues. The narrative wove tighter, psychological depths explored with fluidity, each revelation a step closer to mastery. As dawn's first light hinted on the horizon, he culminated this segment with the essence of Machiavellian virtue in seduction, the ability to appear as fate's favorite, turning fortune to your will. Female psychology craves this illusion desire awakens when she believes the connection is destined yet earned through your cunning. Emotional domination solidifies here, tactics blending into a seamless strategy where every interaction builds toward ignition. The balcony's air grew charged, his words immersing her in a world where power and passion were one. In the quiet hush before the city stirred, he drew the threads together, his voice softening yet resonant, synthesizing the night's revelations into a transformative whole. What began as a flicker in the palazzo had evolved into a blaze, Machiavelli's wisdom not confined to thrones but alive in the intimate dance of desire. You've journeyed through the strategies that awaken, the psychologies that ignite, the dominations that bind. Now see yourself transformed, armed with the art to kindle flames that endure. This isn't mere knowledge, it's a rebirth, where you emerge as the architect of passions unspoken, forever changed by the power to stir the soul's deepest fires. Let this conclusion echo in your core, a strong emotional anchor pulling you toward mastery. If this journey has ignited something within you, hit that subscribe button now to dive deeper into worlds of strategy and seduction. Like this video to feel the algorithm's fire, comment below with your own Machiavellian insights, and share with those ready to awaken their potential. Together, we conquer the realms of desire.